I'm Dave from the Jedi Council. Thank you very much for joining us for another video. This is also a special day for me today. It's my birthday. This is one of the gifts I've had. This has come from my wife. So thank you very much to Amy. It's a very special present for me. I'm a massive fan of the artwork of Star Wars. I think it's one of the things that for me has really allowed me to properly fall in love with Star Wars. It's the imagery, which is something that I picked up on with my video about the original Clone War cartoons. I just loved the art when I went into them. It was very different to traditional Star Wars, but it was another take on it, and it was also something that was very different and very exciting about the way it was done. But this goes back to the original trilogy. This goes back to the original Star Wars for me. So this is a box set of the Star Wars art of Ralph Mcquarrie, which has been shipped to me via Amazon. And I must admit, I must point out about this one, slightly nervous because there is a dent in the box. So this has been delivered via Hermes, so I'm hoping they've not damaged it. So I'm going to take this out of the box. As you can see, it tells you there, it is Star Wars art Ralph Mcquarrie. Weighs 21 pounds. This is a hefty box with some hefty stuff in it. So right, okay, so let's open. And due to the nature of the way it's boxed, there's a bit of looseness in there, which prevents it from being damaged, thankfully. So there you go. Inside of that, there is that. So very well packaged to make sure it gets to me. There you go. So this is now in another box, which is packaged up within plastic. So I'm very excited to open it. Very excited. So here you go. Fantastic feel to the box. Oh, it's just beautiful. Really is beautiful. And on the back, does that come off, or is that? I don't know. That does. No, it is sealed along it. So there you go. So that tells you Star Wars Ralph Mcquarrie, and there's the original ideas for C-3PO, which lends itself to the original artwork from I think it was called Metropolis from the 1920s, a black and white movie. It might even be earlier than 1920s. And the original R2-D2, who eventually, that design and the way he looks with the little arms, actually becomes Chopper in Star Wars Rebels. So that's original concept art for their landing on Tatooine. And there's 2 volumes, both within the slipcase. Oh, right. I cannot stress how heavy these are. Right, we will do volume 1 first. So, volume 1. Oh, Darth Vader. It's beautiful. Sorry, quite emotional. This is really a gorgeous piece of artwork. So, I'm going to see it first. Sorry. Beautiful. Okay, so produced in cooperation with the Ralph Mcquarrie Archives by Brandon Allinger, Wade Lajois, and David Mandel. Apologies if I've mispronounced those names. Oh, now that Tantive 4 by any chance? Okay, there's a foreword by George Lucas. Signed, Skywalker Ranch 2015. And there he is, Ralph with George. There's a bit of an introduction, a little bit of because Ralph Mcquarrie was originally, I think he was in the army. I'm fairly certain he was, and he went on to become almost an industrial illustrator for the likes of Boeing, which is probably why a lot of his designs and concept sketches for vehicles, for spacecraft in particular, looked very authentic. He was used to designing real aircraft, real things that flew. So he had a strong understanding of why ships are shaped the way they are, or how they could be shaped, to make them look more realistic, more lived in. There's a bit of an introduction before Star Wars. Almost it appears to be an interview with him, and then a few of his sketches and ideas from before Star Wars. Ending with Vader again. Same piece that's there, just a little bit more expanded. And then it moves into Star Wars, obviously. It talks, by the look of this, it talks about what went into some of the ideas for Star Wars. Yes, starting with the screenplay, so all the concept sketches, the storyboarding of the movie. There's the evolution of Chewbacca there, except it's not Chewbacca. That ultimately becomes Zeb again in Rebels. And below it, a sandcrawler. Right, okay, so you got a bit of a narrative here talking about the evolution of Stormtroopers there. There you go, the original concept ideas for the Stormtroopers, where Stormtroopers carried lightsabers as well as the shields. And there with the original heroes. And Star Killer, I believe. There again, the concept idea for, oh yes, it is Metropolis Robot. Art Deco, 1927, yeah. Maybe my memory isn't going so bad. And then the evolution of 3PO and the idea of 3PO and how it could be done, and R2 as well. So I'm guessing this is now going to, yes, and then how they were then pulled together for the concept idea of them together on Tatooine. 2 moons as opposed to 2 suns, ultimately. Bit about his method and how he goes about devising some of the things. So the original ideas for Vader that eventually evolved into a full helmet. And there we have original ideas for Luke, well I suppose Starkiller then, against Vader. Both of them with light coloured lightsabers. None of the blues, greens, reds that we ultimately see. The purples, yellows. An idea for the ship on the on Tantive 4, and then how that evolved into the movie itself. Oh wow! And there's full colour double page spread of Vader and Luke. I'm sorry, I'm not going to have time to go through everything that's in this book. B-Wing, wow, and the Death Star. And the idea of the flying hamburger, which became the Millennium Falcon. Right, okay, so there's the Death Star itself. Wow, oh, the iconic scene of the Millennium Falcon being dragged into the landing bay of the Death Star. Oh, this is just beautiful, and the original poster idea that was put out with the original way of putting it together. It moves into merchandising, talking about the merchandising. Splinter of the Mind's Eye. So that was Splinter of the Mind's Eye, for those of you who don't know, was a novel that was released by Alan Dean Foster. Alan Dean Foster wrote the novelisation of Star Wars on behalf of George Lucas, and he wrote a follow-up novel that came after it, which was The Adventures of Luke Skywalker. So nobody expected Star Wars to become the hit it became. Not even George Lucas, really. He had hopes, he had dreams, and looking back, he'll probably say that he always knew it would, but no, nobody really expected it to become what it became. So, Alan Bean Foster was allowed to go out and create a brand new story of Luke Skywalker's adventures as a follow-up to Star Wars. The first novel of the expanded universe, and also the first novel to be regarded as a legend that never happened. Sat on the planet Mimban, which then appeared in Solo, although it was a very different Mimban, because the Mimban of this was very much like Dagobah, and possibly may even have influenced the way that Dagobah became in The Empire Strikes Back. Cloud City. Oh no, not Cloud City, because they're in the snow, so I'm assuming that's Hoth. Ice Castle. Flyers. Some of them reminiscent of more terrestrial looking aircraft, which again probably takes us back to the fact that Ralph Mcquarrie was originally an artist for Boeing. And to be honest, they're not too dissimilar to the way that you would look at concept sketches for aircraft designers today and some of the ideas that they put out. So the man was ahead of his time, he really was. Because these were, 40 years ago he was sketching aircraft that concept artists are now sketching for aircraft today. Original Boba Fett in white, the prototype Boba, and there he is on his screen testing. I can't do this book, Cloud City. I'm just going to keep wittering on it. Snow Speeders. I cannot do the original idea of a Tauntaun. I cannot do a full justice of this book in a short video. Oh, Battle of Hoth with an AT-AT brought down and Snow Speeders flying around it. Cloud City. Oh wow! Oh, right. Okay, I've never seen this before. It's almost. Oh, you could almost look at that and think that is reminiscent of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, with the way that Bilbo Baggins' house looks on screen. But they're Wookiees. Oh. I did the interior of the house that this Wookiee family occupied, with a fireplace and a living room. You could see into the kitchen, and the Wookiee mother was there, with a little Wookiee child was sitting there looking at a hologram on this coffee table-like thing. It was all made out of wood and kind of rustic. The living space scene was one of my favourite paintings I did for the Star Wars series. A direct quote from Mr. Mcquarrie himself. Yes, so I'm assuming this is for what eventually became the holiday special. Yeah, Star Wars holiday special. Wow. Oh, I didn't realise it extended into that. And there again, we've got the probe droid from Hoth. Or spy droid, I guess. Right, okay. Yoda, original ideas for Yoda and Dagobah. This is just volume 1. Oh, the landing at Cloud City at Bespin. There's Lando. There's Han. Like the idea of C-3PO carrying baggage. Got a mundane view. He was almost like a servant. I guess that's the way that the droids are. But to see him carrying baggage, he's even got an arm bag over his shoulder. And then Luke and his confrontation with what became his father. Oh. Wow. The carbon freeze chamber. We got Boba Fett with almost the Clint Eastwood style poncho completely covering his armour in that picture. And there was a lot of takeaways from the Westerns. There was always a very Western feel to the original Star Wars. Loads of badges here. The Empire Strikes Back. The Empire Strikes Back with Mandalorian. Almost looks like a belt. Actually, yeah, it's a belt buckle, apparel, yeah. So, belt buckles, merchandise again. And that's the thing about Star Wars. Star Wars has always done well with merchandise. In fact, I guess in a way, the merchandise sales and the additional sales that come out of Star Wars have allowed Star Wars to be worth the $4 billion that Disney ultimately paid for it, because it's the longevity of the merchandise. The film will sell, and the blockbuster, it will be what Disney refer to as a tentpole movie, and it will make $1 billion at the box office, let's say. But that's just $1 billion. You've then got all the follow-up, all the merchandise. Possibly where Disney now have lost their way slightly. Slightly controversial here. I don't want to go into a rant about The Last Jedi, but perhaps The Last Jedi alienated a number of core fans who were collectors. I know from looking at sales that I've seen, there was a drop in merchandise for The Last Jedi. I'm hoping it can pick up again. The Mandalorian TV show is showing that there is an interest for merchandise still. Rogue One had that, Solo had that. Rise of Skywalker, I'm hoping will continue the trend upwards again of merchandise. Yes, so this isn't a rant about Last Jedi, honest. So I'll put that to one side and look at Volume 2. I'm intrigued as to what Volume 2 is, because that's the first two movies. So, Ralph Mcquarrie in gold down the spine on both books. And this one, right, okay, so this one has got Luke escaping from the snowspeeder with the AT-ATs and the Ralph Mcquarrie signature in the corner. Another beautiful piece of artwork. The man was a genius, sadly missed. So, Volume 2. Same people. Yes, Jabba sail barge across there. Okay, so we carry on with The Empire Strikes Back Part 2, Return of the Jedi, and then beyond the films, which is interesting. Okay, so Empire Strikes Back continues. So the idea of Vader and his helmet that comes off, which we saw when he was on his Star Destroyer whilst hunting for Han Solo and Leia in the asteroid field, or just outside the asteroid field. More pictures of snow speeders, more development of the idea of some of the additional droids that you might see. Lobot. Well, no, I think that's actually originally yes, it does become Lobot, but it looks like originally it might have come out of some of the ideas that came from the original concept idea of Luke and Obi-Wan. Okay, so continuing the Empire, Luke and Vader battles, more Dagobah, random aliens. Let's face it, Star Wars is known for its random aliens. Okay, so this is still the escape from Hoth. So there's a bit of a jumping around in this bit here. And more of the, I don't know if anyone's ever seen, I've got them. The original storyboarding of the Star Wars, the original trilogy movie. I think I've also got it for the prequel trilogy as well. More storyboarding. I'm going to try and jump a little bit further ahead. So I'm intrigued for Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi is my second favourite movie of the trilogy. A New Hope, Star Wars being my first. So I am actually going to jump ahead a little bit here. Apologies. Oh wow, that's quite a clever idea. Right, so you've got Luke Skywalker. Actually, have we? No, we got Jawas and C-3PO in Luke's land speeder driving down Lancashire Boulevard in Hollywood, followed by a Bantha with Sand People, Tusken Raiders. You got Stormtroopers on a motorcycle sidecar with Vader. There's Luke and Obi-Wan walking along, and the sand crawler behind them. Bit random. Lucasfilm moving card. Oh, Christmas, Lucasfilm holiday cards. So Ralph was involved in things such as this, not just concepts for the movie itself, but also other ideas that extended Star Wars, took it in new areas, Cloud City, took it into more wider reach maybe than just the movie itself. Which again goes back to my idea that Star Wars, as the longevity of Star Wars is down to the fact that it has been able to permeate culture. in so many different ways, whether it's Christmas cards, whether it's birthday cards, whether it's wrapping paper. You go into most supermarkets, you will find random Star Wars things, whether it's a mug, whether it's napkins, you name it, you'll find Star Wars on it, wallpaper. And it's the fact that they've managed to merchandise Star Wars so well. Because the images are so iconic. It comes back to the imagery and the way it's been built. It's a very marketable looking franchise. So I'm assuming this is Jabba's Palace concepts. More ideas maybe for Jabba's concept sketches, Imperial Guards and helmets. Right, okay. Wow. Jabba's Palace aliens, right, okay, concept ideas for some of the aliens that you see in Jabba's Palace. Oh, that's jumping on a little bit further than I was expecting to jump, because I was hoping to get a picture maybe of the interior of Jabba's Palace. Right. So we've got an idea of the Emperor's throne. I need to read. Oh, look at that for a zippy little speeder. Wow. That is so Star Wars. Everything about that just screams Star Wars. You can see any of the Star Wars characters in something like that. Wow. Right, okay, I'm going to jump a little bit. So, let's see what else we got. Sail barge. Right, okay. So, yes, there's concept ideas for Jabba's. That's more possibly Asian-looking junks, Chinese junks, maybe, with the way that the sails are like that. And the idea of Luke being fed to the Sarlacc, and it appears that maybe there was 2 large sail barges and 1 skiff originally. Where ultimately we knew there was only 1 massive sail barge and a couple of skiffs. So, that picture there, I don't know if you can see it well enough, but that is, or ultimately became, Lothal in the Star Wars Rebels. Rebels reuse so much. Dave Filoni has managed to reuse so much of Ralph McQuarrie's original ideas and repurpose them for the Rebels TV show. It's just superb the way he did that. And it's a nice homage to Ralph McQuarrie himself. So, Vader arriving on, I'm assuming, Death Star 2 there with his shuttle, flanked by cronies, Imperial Guards, or maybe he's awaiting the Emperor coming down the gangplank, possibly. Maybe they're not his cronies, maybe there's the Emperor's. Battle on Endor with Skywalkers and Ewoks and the catapult trebuchet that they used, the gliders. This man imagined so much. And there's one of my 2 favourite spaceships in battle, the other one being the Y-Wing, that's the B-Wing. There's the destruction, or the initial part of the destruction of Death Star 2, with the reactor being hit. And there's the idea of the rebels gathered with Mon Mothma, Admiral Akbar, on the, I think it was Home 1, which was the rebel command ship, in their meeting to discuss the attack on the Death Star 2. Oh. Beyond the films. So that's production industry keeps calling. So Oscars. That was the Industrial Light and Magic team won the Oscar for Best Visual Effects at the 58th Academy Awards. Oh, more concepts, more ideas. Tatooine, Jabba's castle, and an early idea of maybe what Bib Fortuna would look like, and Salacious Crumb. Wow, okay. So, anyone recognise that? That was the original idea of the gate, I think, into Jabba's palace. Yes, Jabba's palace, North Gate Bridge. Right, okay, so have a look at that. That becomes the gateway on Jakku in The Force Awakens. Brilliant, just brilliant. Okay, Tatooine, Jawa mobile smelter. So I'm assuming that's where the Jawas use all their junk and break it all down and whatever. But that could quite easily then remove the sandcrawler. And again, you've got Jakku there. And you've got the small tent city where people are bringing scraps from the destroyed remnants of the Imperial and the Rebel fleet. I never realised, that things like that then ended up later in the films, or been reused by other bits of the film. So I'm assuming that's Coruscant, the idea of Coruscant. Monument Plaza, yes. So these are ideas that were never used, but would then feed into the prequel trilogy as well as the sequel trilogy. So the idea of Ewoks living in more maritime lake settings, Ewok village on Endor, rather than in the trees. So these are all ideas that could then be repurposed and have been repurposed elsewhere. I'm certain that that image there reminds me again from something from Rebels. Bespin flying creature, which almost looks a bit like the flying creatures that we used on in Attack of the Clones. Oh, the name escapes me now. So the planet that the clones were created on, Kamino. So that's one, looks like one of the flying fish, aerial creatures that were on that planet. Again, just the idea that a lot of this could be repurposed. They look like hot air balloons that, again, on real world Earth, concepts. I'm sure there's a helium balloon at the moment that's being played around with, or it may even be a hydrogen balloon that's being played around with. That looks very reminiscent of that. Oh, again, Waffle City. That is very much Lothal City. You've even got the highway going into it with the water either side, which I think in Rebels isn't water, it's fields almost. I could be wrong, it might be water. But yes, that is definitely Lothal City, or became Lothal City. Alderaan. Oh, there you go, that's a much better view of what became Lothal City. But it was originally Alderaan. Oh. Star Wars The Cantina pop-up book. So yes, so this is again moving into some of the merchandise that was sold. The Cantina pictures. Greedo. Mad Doctor and his assistant. Oh, what were they called? Dr. Evazan and Ponda Baba. Yes, that's the two of them. So they were the guys from the Cantina. Don't want to pick a fight with me. I'm a wanted man on so many systems. And then Obi-Wan takes his arm off with a lightsaber. So that's them operating, because he then had this expanded universe of being a little bit of a nutcase. Has appeared in the comic books. He also appeared in Rogue One. Wow. Cantina pop-up wall elements. Gamorrean Guard, Jabba's Palace, Rancor, Rhonda, I think it's known as. That appeared in, I don't think it was in the original version of Star Wars, the original Star Wars, but it appeared in the special edition version, and Mark Austin, I think, was the animator who created it. Wow, and then Legacy. It moves on to a picture of him in 1994. His Legacy. Oh wow, the Legacy figures that were released. Again, yes, Jabba's Palace North Gate. Yes, Mcquarrie's North Gate bridge design was prominently incorporated as a Jakku set piece in The Force Awakens. And detail from the poster illustration of Fantastic Five. And then a glossary of terms. Wow, and that's it. That's it. So that's, wow. They're beautiful. They really are beautiful. So again, thank you very much for these. There you go. There's the 2 volumes. I'll be looking at them in much more detail. Oh, it's quite emotional, that. They're beautiful. They really are. Really, really are. Oh, right. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm Dave. Slightly emotional here. It is my birthday, so give me a chance. Jedi Council. Thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully you can check out some of the other videos that are on our YouTube channel. We're going to try and post more and more of them up there over coming weeks, months. Alex is an avid collector as well, so I'm looking forward to seeing some of his pieces and him talking about some of his favourite pieces. I'll definitely be doing more videos of the bits and pieces that I've accumulated over the last few years. Thank you for joining us. May the Force be with you.